Everybody, you have fun? This turnout is unbelievable. My God. We say we're going to throw a party on a Monday night in Vegas. This many people show up. Unreal. Whether you've been here all day watching the Horsepower Circus live, or you're tuned into the live stream from around the world, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I want to give a special shout out and thank you to our dealers who made the trip to be with us here tonight. I know you came for Wednesday's meeting, where we're going to be showing you everything that's coming from Dodge for the next 5 years. But we could not resist sharing this very special moment in Dodge's history with you, all together at the same time. The factory, our dealer partners, and our loyal customers. Just look around at this crowd. This is the brotherhood. So, if we really are truly drawn together with common interests, I guess we have kind of a bond. And that bond was tested recently. And it wasn't on your side, it was on ours. Now, sure, some of you got a little nasty behind your keyboards, but when we deserve it, we deserve it. And to be honest, we deserved it on the direct connection stage kits. We way underestimated how long it was going to take to get them emission certified. And clearly, we red lighted on this one. But today, we're making it right. Effective immediately, not one, but all Hellcat, all Red-Eye, pre-stage, stage 1, stage 2, from 2015 to 2022, every one of them has been approved. So, if what you see here tonight isn't for you, because you'd rather build it than buy it, we got you covered. Finally, it took too long, I know, but we got you covered. You can now go to your local Dodge Power Broker dealer and build an emissions legal 885 horsepower Red-Eye with a full factory warranty. Now, I'll be honest, if that wasn't so long in coming, that would have been a really tough announcement to follow. But then again, we have a very long history of being late and coming back hard and punching way above our weight. And what we're going to show you tonight deserves to not be second to anything. Because for over 100 years, Dodge's brand positioning wasn't born out of necessity. It was probably born a little bit more out of spite than anything else. It's like a giant chip that we've been carrying around on our shoulder since the Dodge brothers got into their first bar fight. If you look at our past, right here, it's clear that many of our best, most exciting products were born because we were backed into a corner. We were born to fight back. You look at the first car, the 1914 Dodge. This car was born because Henry Ford pissed the brothers off, and they decided to go build their own, better car. The 1956 D500. This was the most powerful Gen 1 Hemi car of its day. The Gen 1 Hemi car, or the Gen 1 Hemi rather, wasn't the first mass-produced overhead valve V8. It was the second to the fight, so it had everything to prove, and that car did. The 56 D500 won 11 NASCAR races that year. And that was literally a muscle car before the term even existed. 68 Dart, the Hemi Dart. This was the second generation Hemi. That Hemi dominated Superstock drag racing. And it also, same engine, dominated NASCAR. It was so good that they banned it. The next couple of years after that in NASCAR, Dodge was struggling, I'll be honest. So NASCAR let the Hemi back in, and then we wrapped it in that. The 69 Daytona. The result, you guys all know, first 200 mile per hour NASCAR, and they banned it again. You start to see where that chip on our shoulder is coming from? Then in 1970, again, coming from behind, the Mustang and Camaro were killing it in the marketplace. And we didn't have anything to compete. So we brought the Challenger and it stole the show. And today it's one of the most collectible muscle cars on earth. Then, let's be honest, the performance world went into a little bit of a hibernation for a few years. Fast forward to the 80s, cheap, light, 200 horsepower, ruled the day. We were selling K cars. So we took the Omni and we did the GLH. It was a cool car for a K car, come on. And then we dropped the Turbo 3 motor in the Spirit. That Spirit was the fastest sedan in the world that year. No one could argue that we were making the most out of everything that we had in our toolbox. Then in the 90s, we shocked the world with the Viper. There is no question that we sold more Viper posters than any car we've ever built. That car was such an amazing halo, but it was really low volume and it was very expensive compared to the Mustang and the Camaro. So in the 2000s, right there in orange, in the 2000s, we were late to the party again. We brought the L-Series Chargers and Challengers. These cars, especially the Challenger, were much truer to the original muscle car formula than any of the competitors. But unlike some of these other cars that I just rattled off, that Challenger wasn't just late. It had a real problem. And we're all friends, so we can admit it. It was bigger, it was heavier, and it was underpowered. So after nearly 100 years of showing up late, we've always been fueled by the need to push a little bit harder and give that last tenth of effort. Because when you get it right, it doesn't matter, you're never late. If you get creative, nothing's over till you decide it's over. So we launched the Hellcat when everyone was counting us out. And that became the best known engine, we saw a lot of here today, that became the best known engine in the general market. It took the Dodge attitude and it supercharged it. It was like pouring gas on a fire. Those were amazing years for the brand. The brand was riding so high, but you guys all know the story. Emissions compliance was becoming our toughest competitor. So we knew the lights were coming on at any moment for the last call, but we weren't gonna go away quietly, no way. So we turned it up again, and we did the Demon. Now this was the Dodge that crossed over. It crossed over from this group, it crossed over from the enthusiasts to the mainstream and pop culture. From the Hot Rod magazine to Good Morning America. This car wasn't bench raced in online forums. This was the car that the general market talked about on morning shows. They asked for it to be banned from public roads. And in the end, only NHRA banned it for being too fast. That car, the Demon, 6 years later is still the benchmark of factory crazy and production straight line performance. Now that was it. That was it. That was supposed to be the pinnacle 6 years ago. Sure, we were going to part it out. We would do the Red Eye and the Superstock later, but ultimately, we knew we were on borrowed time. We just couldn't sustain the compliance headwinds for very much longer. But just like a Fast and Furious movie plot twist, and before that legendary platform could be retired, and before we could transition to something new, our group entered into one of the largest automotive mergers in history. And then COVID hit the US. Those early days of the pandemic, people were worried about way more important things than replacing the platform for the Charger and Challenger. So the platform got a new lease on life. It got an extension. The enthusiast community, all of us rejoiced. Heavies for everybody. But again, we knew we were living on that borrowed time and we were gonna have to settle up at some point soon. So let's be clear. We didn't ask for those rules to change. We don't want those rules to change, but they did. And so we have to change, we have to adapt. But think back to all those cars that I just rattled off. They all answered a question, a challenge. They were brought to market to show the world that the only way you could not be first and not be last is to be better than whoever was first. So while everyone else is gonna bring an electric car to market, Dodge is gonna bring a muscle car and use electrification to make it not more politically correct, but to make it faster and dodgier. So you know what? Efficiency be damned. We always wanted to do a 68 Charger, and this was our chance. We just needed to study the rules and find ways to do something cool that could comply and make them happy without spiritually retreating from the things that we love. That Charger Daytona has what it takes to do exactly that. The new Charger Daytona will redefine American muscle. And don't worry, you know us. We haven't fully pulled back the curtain on this car, or maybe these cars, just yet. Okay, so let's be clear, electrification is our future. That car is our future. But that's a year away. What can Dodge do now? What can we do today to celebrate the end of this era? To celebrate what got this brand to where it is today? The #1 selling muscle car in America the last 2 years running. Well, I kind of already told you. I mean, I said all 7 last call cars would commemorate a special car that came from our past. Shakedown, Swinger, Ghost. The only question is, which special car from our past will number 7 be? Which one of those cars that's sitting right there? The first 6 are all awesome special editions, no question. But they represent us. They represent the enthusiast community and the things that we love and know and respect. But to celebrate the end of an era, we needed to go so extreme that it will go mainstream. Like I said earlier, Dodge's best products come as the result of being late to the party and having a chip on our shoulder. But it doesn't make sense. Hellcats, Red Eyes, and Demons are unrivaled in the marketplace. So what chip could we have on our shoulder now? Well, a couple of years ago, when we reorganized and stepped away from SRT, everyone said the Department of Batshit Crazy was closed. People were saying SRT is dead. We said, bullshit, brick and mortar can't contain crazy. So we were determined to prove everyone wrong while proving to the world that SRT is still in our DNA, and prove to the world that we can still do crazy better than anyone. To prove to the world that the last 10 is the only thing that matters to some.
In our history, did we ever give you the idea?
You could be Dodge material.
And somehow,
Demon got hold of me.
Demon, huh?
we didn't know exactly what the f*** we were doing.
The Dodge Demon, a leading automotive magazine, calls it too much.
Experts have called for the Dodge Demon to be banned from the NHRA.
Not for the faint of heart. The Demon was the fastest, loudest, most Dodge in the history of Dodge. Until now.
Go. Comes the chopper. So, to drop our times even further, Dodge is going to drop another legend on the world here tonight. Literally, not at an auto show, not on TV, not on social. We're going to drop another legend right here on this drag strip where legends like this are made. All right, we're looking for him.
It's windy. Come around the track. Getting brought in with a Chinook.
Here we go.
I can hear it. nice.
well planned out, but I said that most cars attempt to be everything to everybody, but there are a few that revel in a singular mission, rendering them totally irresistible to a subculture obsessed with that objective. This car was conceived, designed, engineered for that subculture of enthusiasts who know that a tenth is a car length and a half a second is your reputation. If you're here, or if you're watching this online, I'm talking to you. We built that car for you. And yes, pretty obvious now, number 7 is a demon. More accurately, this is the new 2023 Challenger SRT Demon 170. And if you think it makes a badass entrance, just wait till you see how it leaves. We call it the 170 because it's 170 proof. The Demon 170 is the world's first production street legal drag car that runs on ethanol or gas. Runs on ethanol or gas or any combination in between. It automatically recalibrates for maximum power regardless of the mixture you're running. Yeah, the 170 is the world's first environmentally friendly, have a carbon footprint that's 20% lower than gas. But let's be real. The Demon 170 isn't going to save the polar bears, but it's clean enough to keep us out of trouble. I'm not going to promise that for any of you that buy one though. This is what happens. This is what happens when our team takes the infamous Demon and puts it on alcohol. Now for most, that would have been enough to call it a worthy last call. But this is more than a last call with alcohol. Normally at this point, if we didn't have somebody dragging the track, the factory guy standing on stage will tell you about all the best-in-class features that none of you care about. The screen size, the miles per gallon, the cup holders, all that crap. But the Demon 170 has no class, or segment for that matter. It has no rules, it has no compromises. We took everything that original Demon did, that stood unrivaled for 6 years, and we turned it up to 11. Actually, more like 22, because that's how much boost we're pumping into this Hemi. With a new 3-liter supercharger and a 105mm throttle body. We're pumping so much air into this 6.2 Hemi that it took our cylinder pressures up to 2,500 PSI. That's 25% more than we were running on that Demon on race fuel. So to keep all the inside parts inside, we upgraded the entire engine. New block machining, new pistons, new rods, new crank, new bearings, new head machining for head studs. It even has billet steel main caps and a fluid dampener. This isn't regular production car stuff. This is full race technology. And it's what these engines needed to pass our durability and earn a full factory warranty. But then, pushing all that power downstream, we started tearing up the driveline. So we installed a larger drive shaft, much larger drive shaft, 43 spline half shafts, a massive 240mm differential, a new case, reinforced mounting, hardware, making it 50% stronger than that original Demon. And at the end of that power flow, we're spinning the trickiest set of wheels ever used on a production car. Others have used carbon fiber wheels before, but these wheels are an exclusive Lax Industries design using lightweight alloy center sections, titanium bolted to carbon fiber rims. These are true street legal road wheels that are actually lighter than full race alloys. And we wrapped them, you probably already noticed, we wrapped them in massive 315, 50, 17 Mickey Thompsons with 18s in the front. The stance on this car is pure drag car. And we no longer needed the front runners at the track. The significantly increased contact patch, sidewall construction, and aggressive compound of these Mickeys allowed us to electronically and mechanically retune the suspension that was in the original car. We increased the compression in the rear by over 50%, and we slowed down the rebound in the front to generate quicker forward movement at launch when it matters the most. And you're gonna love this. To make that launch even harder and more consistent, we completely redesigned the Demon's trans brake and launch mode. The new system allows you to electronically reshape the torque curve during acceleration and shifts right from the head unit to compensate for track conditions. Once the system is dialed in, you can go watt from green on a prep track. You no longer have to pedal this car at all. Now, I'm not sure how well this track is prepped. Obviously, we just had to drag it again. But we wouldn't build a car like this and bring you all out to the desert, have you tune in on the live stream just to show you what it looks like coming in on a helicopter or sitting on the drag strip. So, who wants to see what it runs? You saw that on the screen. You just witnessed history. The Demon 170 launches at over 2 Gs with 60-foot times in the 120s, runs 0 to 60 in a record, NHRA certified 1.66 seconds. And the quarter mile in a record, NHRA certified 8.9 seconds at 151. Yes, the Demon 170 is history's first 8-second factory muscle car. Producing 1,025 horsepower and 945 pound-feet of torque. The Demon 170 got us more than records and claims. It got us another letter from the NHRA. Yeah, and again. But at least this time, the parachute will be available for direct connection as an option. Because we're Dodge. And that chute is more than a safety measure. It stands for something. Ironically, it stands for never slowing down. It stands for giving it all you've got when the world thinks you've got nothing left to give. And delivering products like the 23 Challenger SRT Demon 170. That is the quickest, fastest, most powerful mass-produced vehicle in the world.
for Jim Wilder. And last but certainly not least, the final last call model, the DC 170. Jim and Jim, congratulations, guys.
Talk about a giggle factor. I can't wipe the smile off my face after that. That's impressive.
Could we have ever anticipated an arrival like that?
The arrival, the performance, the numbers, all of it. It's amazing.
Just incredible. A shout out for our helicopter pilot landing the DC-170 perfectly on the drag strip. That was truly incredible to watch. Who else was mesmerized by that? Everyone's got their hands up.
Seeing it go right over the top. It was terrifying and amazing all at the same time.
I was thinking to myself, hey, you gotta go some way. That'd be kind of cool way to go. Let's see a replay right here as we show it up on the screen. The first launch of the DC-170, incredible.
Wheels up. Sweet pass.
Unbelievable numbers there too. This 56th time, quarter mile time. 8.9 at an incredible miles per hour. Just one gorgeous car.
150 plus. That's insane.
I bet you can't wait to get down the road.
Oh, I wish.
Just incredible day in the history of Dodge. You know, John and Horace have been making cars for over 100 years.